M&M's. In fact, we don't believe there is anyone who hasn't eaten hard candy or something similar. Did you know the Spanish Civil War inspired M&M's? Let's examine how the Spanish Civil War created one of the world's most famous candy brands. Now, M&M's are multicolored, button-shaped chocolates that consist of a candy shell surrounded by a filling of different varieties. Mars Incorporated manufactures M&M's, one of the biggest chocolate companies in the world. Let's talk about how M&M's came to be, as we do with all great sweet stories. M&M's began with one man, Forrest Mars Sr., the son of Frank C. Mars, the founder of the Mars Company, who was born in 1904 and raised in Canada following his parents' divorce as a child. He rarely saw his father and graduated from Yale University in 1928 with a degree in industrial engineering. But he was destined for something better and sweeter as an adult. Forrest reunited with his father at the Mars Company, and the duo started running the company together. However, that wouldn't last. They soon ran into a disagreement over the expansion of the company. Since he owned the company, any other man would have agreed with his father. He bought out his father and moved abroad, even if the Mars Company couldn't expand. Forrest already knew enough about manufacturing to expand on his own without the Mars Company. He moved to England and very soon experienced success. He developed the Mars bars and Maltesers, and he did all this while estranged from his father. Aside from making these candies, he also worked for Nestle and the Tobler Company, but Britain didn't agree with Forrest's sensibilities. And he soon returned home, where he started his own food business, just like his father. If he wasn't going to expand the Mars Company, at least he was going to be his competition. His company, Food Products Manufacturing, established the Uncle Ben's rice line. And he also established a pet food business called Pedigree. By all accounts, he was doing pretty well, but well is never enough. And Forrest was always looking for new ways to increase its share of the processed food market. He needed a product that everyone would want to buy, something that was both amazing and simple. Forrest visited Spain for business in 1939. Spanish Civil War wreaked havoc. While the war was almost over, there were still a lot of visible effects from the worst of it. It was during this trip that Forrest got the idea for M&M's. While in Spain, he saw Spanish soldiers eating chocolate pellets with a hard shell. These chocolate pellets at the time were known as Smarties, and they were British-made. One of the reasons soldiers ate these chocolates was because the hard shells made them difficult to melt. That way, they could be easily transported without spending too much money. Soldiers' favorite candy. The fact that the outer shell of the chocolate was made with hardened sugar syrup meant that both the shell and the chocolate itself were edible. When Forrest saw this, he was struck with the idea for M&M's because, to the best of his knowledge, there was nothing similar in America. And if he produced it with his company, he'd become a pioneer. He pioneered by doing that. In 1941, Forrest Mars received his first patent for his own process of making chocolate pellets. Like what he'd seen in Spain, production began that same year in the factory located at 285 Badger Avenue in Clinton Hill, Newark, New Jersey. Before he decided to found a different company for the production of M&M's. And he called the company M&M Limited. The first M stood for Forrest's surname, and the second stood for the surname of Bruce Murray. Wait. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Who's Bruce Murray? Great question. Bruce Murray was the son of Hershey's chocolate president William F. R. Murray. You see, M&M was essentially a chocolate product, and Hershey's was the largest producer of chocolate in the country at the time. It only sends Forrest to form a partnership with the heir to the world's largest chocolate company. Bruce Murray owned 20% of M&M's when it was founded. But there was another reason why Forrest Mars made the arrangement with Bruce Murray. You see, by 1941, the year M&M's were first made, The Second World War was already in swing. Despite the fact that America hadn't yet gotten involved in the war, and Hershey's was already in control of rationed chocolate. The relationship with Bruce Murray made it possible for M&M's to be made with rationed chocolate. The first big customer of M&M's Limited was the U.S. military, and they planned to use the chocolate in the exact same way that the Spanish had used it in the Civil War. This meant that the idea for M&M's came from a war, and the Forest's first big contract was selling the chocolate to the military. So I guess you could say M&M's are the official chocolate for wars. By mid-World War II, Forest sold M&M's exclusively to the military due to rising demand. As expected, the demand for the chocolate by the soldiers necessitated expansion. And Forest had to move his factory to bigger quarters at 200 North 12th Street in Newark, New Jersey. Forest had enough cash to launch M&M's into the civilian market after the war. His success with the military men showed that there was no way M&M's could fail. Once the soldiers returned home from the war, they gave great reviews of the chocolate and also bought it too. But the success of M&M's brought a new problem: the larger the company became, the more Forrest Mars had to work, and the more he had to work, the more he became frustrated and unbending. Bruce Murray didn't like this aspect of Forrest and decided to leave the company. He met with Forrest and asked for $1 million buyout, which Forrest granted. Forrest could run M&M's without Bruce's input. On the other hand, Bruce would no longer have to deal with Forrest's. While it was the end of a partnership, it was the beginning of great things for Forrest Mars and the company. The slogan "It melts in your mouth, not your hand" was introduced in 1950. The next year, the black M was printed on the candies to give them a unique trademark, and in 1950, the M was changed to white. Even after 10 years of producing M&M's Limited, the company licensed to produce was still expanding due to skyrocketing demand. By 1960, M&M's Midwest Research Institute in Kansas City, Missouri, had perfected a process to coat 3,300 pounds worth of chocolate centers per hour. M&M's became a top US candy brand in 20 years. Forrest M. Mars took over the Mars Company after Frank C. Mars died in 1964. He merged all of his food companies with the Mars Company to create one of the biggest food processing companies in the world. But that wasn't the end for M&M's. In 1980, the candy sought international dominance after dominating the American market. The Mars Company started exporting the candy to countries like Australia, Canada, Europe, Hong Kong, Japan, Malaysia, and the United Kingdom in the same year. M&M's became the first space-bound chocolate in 1981. Yes, space as in outer space. They were launched into orbit with the Columbia Space Shuttle, becoming the first candy in space. Unlike many other candies, M&M's haven't changed much since their introduction to the world in the 1940s. The basic ideas behind the chocolate remain the same, although the colors and fillings may have undergone limited changes when the M&M's first entered the market. That flavor is called plain, and there are now several flavors, like the peanut flavor and the peanut butter flavor. Quickly, what's your favorite M&M flavor? Tell us in the comments section below, minus the peanut flavor. Did you know that the peanut flavor of M&M's was the second flavor introduced to the market? Forrest Mars was allergic to peanuts and never tried peanut-flavored M&M's. You do now. Now back to the story. M&M's success is also due to the difficulty of creating Mars replicas, which are privately owned. And even though Forrest Mars died in 1999, his children still run the company today. While none of this can be proven, we can say that whatever Mars Incorporated is doing is working right now. The candy is probably the most popular in the world, and that was all possible because Forrest Mars saw soldiers in Spain eating chocolate. Tell us in the comments what your favorite facts was from this video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more.